Welcome into another edition of the Holton Ayler Show. On the other side of the break, Garrett McGhin, Caden Norman, and some exciting news at the end of the show as well. Hope you enjoy the show. If not, as always,
That's too damn bad! Holton Ayler turns, and Holton will take off and run himself. He's at the 40-yard line. Holton Ayler's to the 30. Look at him go! 20, 10, 5. Touchdown, Pirates!
There's local politics, bud.
It's showtime!
welcome back in, Garrett, my roommate, teammate now. And, dude, I was kind of smiling right there during the intro for the people watching the visually. You're in that. I didn't even think about that.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, wait, hold up.
Let's go. Dude, so let the people know how you've been. So we're both on the Renegades. We live together with Noah Henderson, too, who's on the show, both in the UFL. So just update the people on how life is, then we'll get into it, man.
Life has been great. Pirate household over here in Texas has been sick. Last year ended a lot sooner than I expected. Went down with a knee injury in camp, but we are all healthy. The Renegades are off to a hot start, 3-2. So just trying to keep the ball rolling, feeling good, enjoying my roommates. Holton's not too dirty. Noah's pretty dope.
And so we talk about, first of all, living together. It makes me feel like college again. I know we're old now and it's all that, but everyone's like, if I go back to college days, I would. It's kind of what the UFL feels like, so it's a good time.
Absolutely. Like, it's a lot of fun, and it really is truly like college. Like, we're right down the street. It's like being at Stratford. We're right down the street from the
It's nice, dude.
It is.
Hell yeah.
And, we got a really good group. Like, at Stratford, we've been working really well. I think we can all agree that the best addition to the house was that hammock.
Absolutely. Come on now.
Dude, work naps out there in the hammock just chilling,
Agreed. For the fans out there, and then Kate, I'm gonna let you jump in too. Garrett's a big, if he cooks a steak, he's got to cook it on the grill. He's got to charcoal it real nice. He's buying a real nice steak. And I'm totally opposite, at least when Grace isn't here. And Grace isn't here right now, my fiance, who's actually producing this. And I'm more of a simplicity guy. So we have this, Garrett bought a air fryer. So every night for the last 2 weeks, I'm on a little diet right now, carnivore diet. I make my world famous green beans, eggs, and then I put my steak in the air fryer, and it bugs Garrett to death. I don't know why you don't like it, man.
Let me just start off by saying I completely understand. Maximum efficiency, low effort, high taste. I get it. Nobody wants to, stack the coals up, let them burn, get white, do all that. I get it. Don't get me wrong, I get it. And not to mention, it's not the best cut of meat, so it's okay. I get it. I completely understand. But my thing is, if we're going for maximum efficiency, we don't have to surrender taste. So
I think mine tastes great. I gave you a taste the other night. You liked it.
It's not bad, but just with a little bit more effort, we could have a 6-yard run turn into a first down. And it's
yeah, I'm a big deep ball guy. I'm gonna throw it deep. So, I don't like runs anyways.
Hey, just like this past week. Let's take the first play of the game. Let's get in, get out.
For sure.
What?
As fast as you can, that way I can go back to the bench and give me more.
Caden, what's up?
What cut steaks are you guys going with?
Dude, I'm going with New York strip. I didn't like the shot there. Oh, T-bone is
No, we have a T-bone package in with the Holton Ayler.
That's when I get in the game. Is we call it the T-bone package. So let's go. Caden, how have you been, brother?
I've been pretty good. I agree with Garrett there, though. You gotta on the steak, you gotta go better cut, and you just gotta figure out the efficiency. Chicken, you can put that in the air fryer all day long. You can't put steak in the air fryer.
I'm telling you, 4 minutes, 400 degrees, both sides. It's good. I'm telling you, it is better than you would think it would be. Now, look, I told Garrett the other night, I said, look, if Grace was here, I would not do this. Mm-hmm. But I am a simple man when it comes to just me.
So here's
my world famous green beans and my steak, and that's all I need.
Yeah. But here's my thing is, what if we got the pan ripping hot, throw a little bit of butter down, just quick sear, right?
Yeah.
We'll get that crust. Throw it in the air fryer for, instead of 8 minutes, we do 4.5, 5 minutes. So now you took that same time, the same 8 minutes, but you spent a little bit on the pan, a little bit of the air fryer. Now you have a crust,
Too much effort. That's double the cleaning now. Double the
That's what
cleaning.
it is. That's what it is.
Yeah. All right, let's get back to football. We just went off on a spell there. Gee, so you're in – what year are you of pro ball now? What year are you in?
This is technically year 6, I believe. I came out in 19, so 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 7.
Jeez. Your story has been crazy. And actually, the draft just happened. We'll talk about that. Some guys from ECU, obviously, Savon got drafted. Then we had some guys, Winston Wright signed a undrafted free agent. Everyone else is minicamp invites. And I didn't realize that's how you got your first shot. Is minicamp invites really, really hard to like get signed after that. So super quick weekend. Go into like the mental side of it. Just these guys are about to experience it now. Fans are following it. They don't really understand like what is undrafted versus minicamp invite. Like go through that and how you got signed because your story is pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. So I'll just start from the very beginning. Like I knew I was going to be a later round guy, 6th, 7th undrafted. So I was kind of like already knew that going in. And then 6th and 7th round came, and we were talking to teams, but then it just went solo. And the draft was a very hard time for me. I was dealing with some things with family health issues and stuff like that. So it was already unconventional. Was very interesting. And so then my agent calls, is like, "Hey, you got a rookie minicamp invite to Indianapolis." And I'm like, "Okay, cool. Like, let's do it." And he calls me back like 10 minutes later. "Hey, we also got Buffalo." And I'm like, "Oh snap! Well, which one are we going to go with?" He goes, "Oh, we don't have to pick. They're different weekends. They're different days." And I was like, "All right, cool." So I go to Indy, play well. Messiah Rice, left tackle at East Carolina, was actually there with me. And it was just one of those things. Like I went in, they had known that I'd played multiple positions at East Carolina. So they were like, "Hey, can you play multiple positions?" I was like, "Yep." First day was at right tackle. Next day was at left tackle. And then I finished at like right guard. So I was like, just showing that I am not a one-trick pony, can do these things. And then I was out of there. There was no like, "Hey, we thought you did good. Ready list. We want to sign." There was none of that. It was literally like I was looking around like, "Oh, that's it? All right, we're out. Okay." Then I go home, and I'm like, "Okay, well." Then it all starts to set in. Like this truly could be my last weekend of playing football. So I remember just talking to my dad and him being like, "Unload the clip." That's what I remember him saying, just unload the clip. And what he meant by that was like, do everything in your power to know that when you walk off the field, there's no question marks. There's no question marks about effort, attitude, versatility, football IQ, any of that. Like, go out there and just unload the clip, do everything you can to possibly make it be known that you are who you say you are. So, same kind of situation. They're like, "Hey, we know you played all 5 at ECU. Like, are you comfortable still doing that?" And I go, "Absolutely." So first day I'm out at right tackle, playing well. And then the next day, he's like, "Hey, we're going to move you to right guard." I'm like, "Sounds good." And a little backstory, that was the year that they took Ed Oliver, 9th overall, which we had played multiple.
Yeah.
So dude was first round pick, got paid in the league, great player. Not saying by any means I was strapping him up. Not saying that by any means. I played well. And then I remember we had put in a screen. We had put in a screen into the boundary, and we had a motion that told us if it was man or zone. And we got the man look, so I knew when I got out who I was going to block, and I kick him out, and we have a gash. O-line coach is hype. I'm hype. I'm like, okay, things are going well. And all in the back of my head I could think of was just, hey, unload the clip, unload the clip, unload the clip. So the next day he was like, "How do you feel about snapping?" I'm like, "Let's do it. Let's rock." So the next day, it's a 3-day weekend, I go and snap. So now I've played every position on the O-line, like the groups of positions, guard, tackle, center. And I was playing well, felt very good about it. And I broke it down, Bills on 3, 1, 2, 3 Bills. I'm looking around, I'm like, you know what? I did all I could do. And I started walking to the locker room thinking it's going to be just like Indy. I pack my bags and head home. And then Big Baller Bean was like, "Hey, McGhin." I was like, "Yes, sir." And it was funny because there was no talks about like, "Hey, we want to sign you." It was more just like, "Oh, you played at ECU, like you were with Blake Kroll, And we talked about Blake for a little bit, and then they talked about Austin because they had drafted him like 2 years, I think, prior in the 7th round out of UNC. And we talked just about his dad and all that, blah, 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 whoop-de-whoop. And things kind of like, went in a conversation where it kind of like dies. I was like, oh, like, it's like, appreciate everything, blah, blah, blah. He goes, oh, yeah, I forgot to mention, we're going to sign you. And I'm like, I'm over here like, oh, I think I'm about to go home. So, yeah, and it was crazy because they had a lot of undrafted cats that year. So it was always funny. Like, I'm sure you've had to do it when you were in Seattle. Name, school, signing bonus, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget it. I think pre-tax, it was $150. I brought home $91.90.
Let's go.
But, yeah, and that's how I got my foot in the door. Played well there. We actually had a joint practice against the Panthers. Played well. Was in the preseason game playing well. Unfortunately, in the game, I got a bad injury. Kind of did the settlement deal, went home, got healthy. The Panthers worked me out as soon as I got cleared. Signed me practice squad. Next thing you know, ball bounces in my court. And I get activated. I'm active in Carolina for the last 6 weeks of the season. Unfortunately, with 2 weeks left, we're on a fast Friday. One of the last plays of the day, blow out my ankle, end up on IR. And from then on out, it's been bouncing around Jacksonville, back to Buffalo, USFL, Giants, XFL, Buffalo, and now UFL. So here we are.
Yeah. Dude, that's what's so crazy about your story. First of all, it's people don't realize minicamp weekend, dude. Rookie minicamp weekend. So, if you're undrafted free agent, for example, to explain it to people, you're going to make it through the weekend. It's like a 2-day weekend. And then there's guys there who are invite. You see rookie minicamp invite. That means they are going. The only thing guaranteed they have is those 2 days. And then the guys that don't get signed, that's it for them. And usually they sign 1 or 2 out of 150. It's very, very tough. So, the guys who make it from minicamp balled out. Sneed, I'm pretty sure Sneed did the same thing and, just balled out, show what he could do, and then they keep you. That is probably the hardest time. It's pretty much trying out for an NFL team in 2 days.
Yeah, so people who don't know, rookie minicamp is you think about you have on the high end, 8 draft picks. That's on, if guys have done trades, all that. And then you have probably another – how many undrafted cats would you say that there are in a typical class? 10, 15?
10 to 18 probably depends on it, how risky a team wants to be.
Yeah, so you now have 20 guys that are guaranteed to go into camp. There's literally when I did it, we signed I think 3 people from that weekend.
That's insane. Yeah, that's how it is.
Invited, you have enough people to where you have minus the 20 people that you just signed from the draft and all that, you have to develop 2 deep on offense, 2 deep on defense, and a couple specialists here and there, whatever. So that's 44 dudes at least.
And then receivers usually 5 deep.
Exactly. So it's then now you're in the 60s, 70 amount of people for the weekend, and only 3 dudes got signed that went there and weren't already signed.
What, dude? Or Caden, go ahead.
What are those practices like? Are they quick, fast practices?
They are intense. So it's honestly a sped up camp practice. So you go in and they literally say, here's the install. Here's the plays we're going to run. They give you quick coaching points on it. And then, hey, let's go out to practice. And then you go out to practice. It's an hour and a half, maybe 2 hour long practice, couple individual periods, nothing crazy, and then team. But it's all up tempo, high pace. They want to see if you're in shape. They want to see if you can think quickly, retain information from the meeting that you just had an hour before, this, that, and the third. And then it's full speed, shower, eat, whatever, back into meetings, and then you do it the next day. And then after that, it's you could do it one more day, and then you're on an airplane back home.
Dude, yeah. I always told people that rookie minicamp was probably the hardest practices and the most stressful practices I went through. Because even I was already signed, but it was just dude, it's so fast. They just throw it on you and see who sticks. Dude, my one rookie minicamp story, it didn't really happen to me, but I was involved in it, was we had 4 quarterbacks for rookie minicamp, and I was the only one who signed. The other ones were rookie minicamp invites. And that whole weekend, like there's 2 days really, it's just super fast paced. And then the last day you have practice, and then you kind of watch film, but the film is like, okay, we're done practicing. So like the guys who get cut are leaving. So it's kind of like the guys are just waiting. It's really weird. So we get into the film, and it's just the quarterback. So it's the 4 quarterbacks, quarterback coach, and OC. And the quarterback coach, Greg Olson, not the tight end Greg Olson, he's a John Gruden disciple, says, all right, instead of watching film, since today's the last day and guys are going home, let's just talk about, our story, how we got here. So he went through like a heartfelt story on how he ended up, blah, blah, blah. Then I went. Then the other quarterbacks went. And then at the end of it, he goes, all right, well, thanks, guys. Holton, you keep your iPad. The rest of you guys turn in your playbook, and good luck in your future. And that was it. So I'm sitting there. I'm like, that was my first time. I was like, oh, my gosh, this is really cutthroat. Like these guys were like tearing up talking about their story. And he's like, all right, thanks, guys. See ya. It was just like,
one of those things where all those dudes are fighting for their dream to come true. So everybody's $1 million a minute, giving their all, trying to make it. So it's like super competitive. And then that was one of those things. Like everybody talks about it. Like it's a business, it's a business, it's a business. But like until you are in it, you don't quite understand. Like, dude, that dude's whole life, dream, goals, aspirations are essentially done in front of your very eyes. And then you're with a dude, and then he's gone. And then the next day there's a new dude, and then a week later it's a different dude, and then 2 weeks later you're gone, and it's just like
no, yeah. So this is a great transition into spring leagues, which we're both very blessed to still be able to play football not in the NFL. And I tell people that all the time. I love the UFL, and you've played in different spring leagues too, because it gives guys a chance for that not to be the last opportunity. If you get cut from the NFL, you still have an opportunity to show, look, I still belong. And even if you don't get another shot, you still have a home in this league. And you certainly have played, I think it's your 3rd spring league. So just talk about like some stories behind that, what you thought it would be like, especially when you're younger. Like me last year, I remember coming into it with different mindset than how I view it now. Just talk about like your experience through the spring leagues, what's good, what's bad, and then we'll kind of get into details about this year and last year.
Yeah, I think the big focus point I want to hit on, and I would love to hear your thoughts on it too. Came into this, that was USFL was my first one. I remember when I first came in, I was like, probably going to be the best dude here.
Yep.
Boy, was I mistaken. Like you get into this league and you like, I was on a practice squad. I was active. I was like, okay, like I know I can play ball. And then I get here, I'm like, okay, like it's going to be a step down. Let's put out some good film and get back. And then you're like, oh, wait. Everybody that's playing right now was either on an active roster or on a P squad. And it's like, this is high caliber football.
Yep.
Now let's go play football. And it truly is a great avenue for people to get film. And that's the thing, like my story, injuries, whatever you spent, and people forget about it too. Like being on a practice squad is great. Like it's great. You're playing in the NFL. You have a job, this, that, and the third. But you think about it, you're on a practice squad for a year, get a sprinkle of some preseason games, and then you're in practice squad again. Like that's essentially now 2 years where your film layout is this big. You had what's now 3 preseason games.
Yep.
All you have a film. So if you kind of get lost in the sauce of like the new rookies coming in and whatever, then you come to this league, you have 10 games, you're the guy, you go show, hey, no, I'm still who I said I am. Boom, can get picked right back up. Or like, God forbid, whatever happens, anything happens, it gives you another opportunity. And one story that I love to talk about, and it mainly is because of how good of a dude he was, is my USFL year playing with Cavante Turpin. Like that.
Oh, yeah.
The greatest dudes I've ever been around. Great teammate, all that. But that dude was a ball player. Dude was a stud. Dude played in like Italy and Mexico. And then he gets his opportunity in the USFL, goes crazy, is the MVP of the whole league. And he just got paid by the Cowboys. Has been all pro.
17 milli.
It's like, dude, that's what makes these leagues so cool is like you have a guy who not only is a great dude, but a great football player, and he shows like, oh no, I'm still who I am. Give me a shot, gets a shot, and then runs with it. And It's like that's what's for like a career that started to look like it was going down, and then it just goes right back up. Like that's, I think everybody can get behind that.
Dude, I think it's cool, and like you kind of hit it as like you go into the league, and I think a lot of people view the league maybe on the outside of like, yeah, it's less competition. Which I mean, I understand it's less competition than the NFL starters, but like the backups in the NFL and the third string and practice squad guys, the competition really isn't that much different because everyone in this league like has the exact same story, not the exact same story, but like you said, they've been in the NFL, had experience, and are good enough to be on a practice squad. It's just like a situation. Everyone's story is just different. That's why we have the podcast Last Chance UFL to hear people's stories. So like, I think there's a ton of different avenues this could take you on. It could be I'm young trying to get film, trying to get back in the league. It could be like you, I was active, I got hurt, just bad, situation, and I'm trying to get back into the league. And then there's guys also that are like, look, I'm just trying to enjoy. I know I can still play. I don't really need the money to go play in the NFL anymore. I still love football. And this is a whole lot stressful than the NFL, and you can just go play it and have fun doing it. So like there's so many different avenues that people could take. And that's why I think makes the league special.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. You have such a wide range of goals and aspirations in this league. And like, to mention too, like people think that the NFL to me is divided between the top 1%ers and the guys that are fighting and clawing every single year to just stay in it.
Yep.
And you have your dudes that are Hall of Famers, that are 10-year vets, 8-year vets, 6-year vets, draft picks, whatever. But then you have a lot of those rosters that are made up of dudes that are, undrafted, special.
That are on the fringe of UFL and NFL, literally.
Literally on the fringe of that. And I think a lot of the general public doesn't understand that so much of the NFL is right situation, wrong time.
Yep.
Or right situation, right time. And there's a lot of good football players that we've played against in this UFL, and you're like, dude, that guy needs to be on an NFL roster. Like, that guy can play. And it's
dude, our Jalen Redmond last year, our starting nose tackle for the Renegades, starts for the Vikings now. He just signed a big deal himself.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's a dude I remember in training camp, you're like, oh, he's got it. Like, and you're always like, well, what's going on? Why is he not here? And you hear it's like, oh, I had an injury here or whatever.
Yep.
He sees more film and like, okay, yeah, I can definitely see that. And then he signs and you're like, he deserves that. Then he makes a 53. You're like, yeah, he deserves that. And he's balling, making plays. You're like, yeah, he deserved that. Like, he was nice. This isn't just a like participation trophy league. Like, these dudes can ball.
No, 100%. Caden, what do you have?
Looking at too.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Garrett, question I have is, what's driving you still? Is it getting back in the league, or is it just the chance to continue to play football? I know all of us, at some point, me, obviously never had a chance to continue the dream, even though I love football. But, I'm just curious what's still driving you today.
That's a great question. Honestly, it's a lot of different things. So, one, and it's funny because I'm looking back on it now. There's a video out there of me on Pro Day that was like, if I ever get to the point where I'm playing for the money, I'll hang them up. And I feel like the game is so much more important to that than deserving
for sure.
That disrespect the game of football to just be playing for a paycheck. So for me, I love the game of football. I think offensive line play is truly, and I think offense as a whole or football in general is truly like poetry in motion. Like when you see what a defense is trying to do versus your play call, and you make an adjustment or a check or you do the technique right and then a play hits, it's like that to me is so much fun. And then the locker room, all that stuff that everybody talks about is great. But for me, football and the schematics behind it is what is truly driving me because I truly enjoy it. And every time I see it, I'm like, God, that looks so cool. That looks so dope. Or a great ball, drop into the bread. But that to me is that is so cool. So that's number one. Number two, and call it like it is, I was not going to let my career go out on an injury first day of training camp like it did last year. So when that happened, I was really looking in the mirror being like, hey, touching 30. You've done this, you've done that. Is it time to walk away? And I took some time and was like, you know what, let me process, let me think about it. And I was just like, nah, like, one, can't go out like that. Two, like, I miss the game of football too much when I was doing all my rehab and all that. Like, no, I got to get back to that. So, and a lot of it too was like self-pride too, to be like, no, I am who I think I am. So hit rehab really hard. And once I kind of saw that start to like take off, I was like, no, like, we can do this. Let's go. And for me too, like the year before that, we just won a championship. Last year I didn't play at all. So I'm like, I want to get back. And we didn't have a very good year last year. I was like, I want to come back and like get that thing back rolling again, win some games. We got off to a good start this year. And I just felt like there was more on my plate when it comes to football, just for multiple different reasons. And until that starts to fade, like I'm going to continue to play. God willing, don't know what the future holds. This could be my last year. Just the body, it takes a lot more to be able to go on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday than it used to. So that's some things I'll evaluate after the season. But until that love leaves me for football, I think I'll continue to play.
That's a great answer. Dude, we talked, I think we were on the way to breakfast the other day, and I was like, dude, you know how blessed you are to be about to be 30 or close to 30 and you still haven't had to get like an office job yet? Like, we still get to play football.
Yeah. It's crazy to think about too. Like, that's one of the things, like, I did a lot of like reflection this offseason with the injury and everything, and just try to look big picture. And what I tell people, whether it's injury or, you know, frustrated with your situation or whatever, take yourself back to that 10-year-old Holton or that 10-year-old Caden. And if you were to look at them and say, hey, man, you're 25, 26, almost 30, playing football, what would that kid say? He would look.
Heck yeah.
Are you serious? Like, he doesn't care about the UFL. He doesn't care about the NFL. Like, you're telling your younger self, man, you are playing a game that you grew up loving and idolizing, and you're still able to do that. Like, how cool is that? And Ruff had this great quote that I'll never forget. And he said, your football days are numbered. The number may not be up to you. And to me, it's just like, you have this amount of span to play football out of a life, Lord willing, obviously, that is this big. And it's like, why would you not maximize that little bit of time to play football under your own free will? You know, there's injuries that, you know, take away people's careers and stuff like that, or they just get cut one day and they don't get another call. Like, it is what it is. It's the reality of our business. But, like, why would you not maximize those days that you have playing the game that you truly love, and then you have the whole rest of your life to do whatever else?
Nah, that's real for sure. Caden, do you have anything? And then I have 2 questions for Garrett, and then we'll let him go.
Yeah, going back to college, Garrett, what do you miss the most about ECU football?
My time at ECU was very, very unique. You know, I went through a lot of stuff at ECU. I think I was talking to Noah about this the other day. I think I went through 2 head coaches, 4 O-line coaches, and I think 3 offensive coordinators, 2 or 3 offensive coordinators.
Shoo, how many quarterbacks? We talked about this too.
Yeah, we did. I was that number is
It's like 12.
Yeah, it was up there. So, like, I definitely had a unique situation. But I tell you what, man, from the moment that I got to Greenville on my recruiting trip, I was like, this place is different. Like, truly, I mean that to my core. Greenville is a special place. Like, and if ECU can get back to what we were, that place is going to be like any place in the country. And I truly believe that. So I definitely miss Greenville. I miss everything that came with Greenville, you know, SUPs, all that good stuff. What's that one bar called?
Bob's Pantana.
Definitely miss old PBs. But the thing to me that I truly miss the most, and I truly appreciate ECU for, is, and I think it's just football in general, is how you can become friends with people like that from all across the country, completely different backgrounds, and
Yep.
just click. All because you have a common goal, interest, whatever. And to this day, like, the friends that I made on the ECU football team are friends for life. I've been in their weddings. They'll be in my weddings, and it truly is a brotherhood. And I think that is just one of the best aspects of life.
That's why you're going to come back to a game this year, right? Party with the boys.
Definitely. I will definitely be back in Greenville.
Let's go.
I think I have a place to stay, too, I think.
You do. As long as Big Noah ain't sleeping in that bed, you're going to have to cuddle together.
Well, we got to ask G first.
Yeah, she's always down. Caden, what do you got?
When was the last game where you were able to come back to Greenville?
Dude, so me and Holm talked about this. Don't get on me for this.
Boo.
Since I graduated, I've watched them play at USF and at UCF, but I have not been back.
Yeah, I guess it's different for like people who aren't from North Carolina. Like me and Caden are both, like, obviously I'm from Greenville. Caden's from 30 minutes down the road, but now lives in Greenville. So it's like different for like people who aren't from North Carolina.
Yeah.
All right. So then, what was the one question I was going to ask? I wanted to give you the spotlight because I think we have a cool picture of me and my good luck. I wanted you to talk about me following me watching the Knicks play, just how good the Knicks are and the story.
Yeah. So to set the stage up, I could not know any less about basketball. Like, if you ask me 20 players in the NBA, I'm giving you the superstars, Luka, LeBron,
Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns, OG Anunoby.
I'm giving you those guys, and that's it. I'm not telling you who's in what, any of that stuff. So that's where we'll set the stage. But the other day, in the best seat in the house, got off work, feeling good, sun shining, beautiful day, and I'm laying out in my hammock, having a great time. And I hear the door slide open, hear Wrigley run out. I look over, I was like, "Oh, what's up, Paul?" I said, "Oh, that's a nice jersey." To me. So then I roll over, like, out of the hammock, so my whole head sticks out. And this dude has the whole has the whole outfit on, just having a casual conversation like it's his Sunday best. And I'm just like, what is happening? And he goes, "Oh, you didn't know the Knicks play in like 20 minutes." I go, "I didn't know that."
It was good luck. It's good luck. I'm wearing it tonight. The Knicks play like 20 minutes. And I will be wearing – I got to switch up the jersey, though. I got like 5 or 6 jerseys, so I'm locked in. I'm very proud of that jersey. And, Garrett, I told you – Caden, I haven't told you this yet, but if the Knicks make the Eastern Conference Finals, I will wear that outfit to a pregame of a UFL game. I will wear that during the walk where they take pictures and stuff.
Absolutely, you should.
And I'll get a headband, some arm sleeves.
I'll get you a headband. I'll get you a shooting sleeve. We can do it. I want it all.
All right.
In there too, that would be electric.
You know what? I'm proud. I'm all for it. I'll do it.
People know why you're a Knicks fan?
I think I've said it before. I just watched them a Christmas Day,
just
like
2000. One time it was like, yep. If anybody ever has a doubt about men's loyalty and logic, they watch it too one time and they'll die on that bridge. So don't talk to me about loyalty.
That is true. Caden, what were you saying?
Dude, you look like a 12-year-old who hasn't had puberty yet in that.
Oh, my gosh. Whatever. My muscles were – it was a bad angle.
You look like the Rizzler in that thing, man.
It's a bad angle. Get out of here. Those shorts are baggy. That's all it is. Those shorts are baggy. Oh, Garrett, appreciate you joining, brother.
Of course, brother. Caden, it was good to see you, brother.
Good seeing you, man.
Caden, the draft just happened. We can talk about first of all, Shedeur falling. Let's get into that. You kind of talked about it off air. What are your thoughts on him falling to the 5th round of the draft?
Yeah, I feel like everyone's talked about it. At first, I was like, wow. I was, me, I've always been high on Dion, always been high on the Buffs all season long. Bet them all the time. Loved watching them. Love the whole atmosphere they bring to college football. But, when you hear Shedeur taking phone calls with GMs, taking calls, making people feel small. I don't know how true that is, but if it is true, it's the same with college football. We've been with players like that, thought they were bigger than who they actually are. And, people that turns people off, turn coaches off. And in the NFL, they're not going to put up with that. Now, how much of that is true, we don't know. But I don't think it was a systematic scheme against Shador or Dion. But I do think, he wasn't a top 2 or 3 quarterback. I was actually shocked that a lot of people had him on their draft boards that high. I think Cam Ward, it's sad that he's gotten a little bit of attention he's gotten. But I do think one person who is highly underrated and one team got a really good steal at quarterback, and that's Will Howard and the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all. I was really high on Will Howard too, and just the whole quarterback situation. I told someone this. I haven't watched enough film. I've only watched the game. I haven't broke down his film to tell you should he been top whatever pick, should he have not been. But I will say that quarterbacks in the history of the NFL, quarterbacks that have a lot of media attention, if you're not a starter, teams don't really, that turns teams off as the number 2. The number 2 is supposed to lay low, help the starter as much as he can, and do your job. And that's where I think after the first round passed, first round is where rookies are supposed to be starters as quarterbacks. And then after that, it's okay, they're going to be a backup. Second round, maybe compete, later in the year to be the starter. But once you pass that, first round, middle of second round is saying, okay, we're drafting for backup spots. And historically, NFL doesn't like quarterbacks, flashy quarterbacks as the number 2 because they want all the attention on the starter. And if fans are, the most popular quarterback ever with big fan bases in a team struggling is a second string quarterback because all the fans say, the second string should be playing. That's just how it is. So I like I said, I haven't seen enough film. I will say I do like Will Howard a lot. I like his fit in Pittsburgh. So that's a really good fit. Yeah, man, the draft was weird. It really was. And I was watching the first round, and dude, it was weird because it was all offensive linemen and defensive linemen. It was the most offensive lineman, defensive lineman class I've seen in forever, it feels like. So, but that's just how it is. Sometimes it just falls that way. That's how the board goes, and guys have a plan and then kind of falls apart. I want to give a shout out, though. The team that surprised me that I was wow, okay, they're actually trying to win now is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Trading up to get Travis Hunter, I thought was a very good move. They got a young GM, a new head coach. I was really impressed with them.
Yeah, Travis Hunter, I think the funniest draft moment was him and the VP, I can't remember the guy's name, Hall of Famer, though. Rips the jersey out of his hand.
Yeah.
Able to see that. I thought that was pretty funny. But going back to Shador real fast, I think he's in a decent situation though. Even though it's still think of the Browns. I don't know who has a more botched quarterback room, the Browns or the Giants right now. But I really think he's better than Dylan Gabriel. You have Joe Flacco who's old, and then you have Deshaun Watson, who I don't think anyone's high on Deshaun in the last 2 or 3 years. So he's just sticking around because they spent so much money on him. So I think he has a really good chance. I think he's actually the best rookie they have on the team. When I look at a good draft pick, a really one that really excited me, I have to look at. I was pretty happy for Marion Hampton.
That's your boy.
Everyone's not high on Marion Hampton as the running back position. They had a lot more running backs listed higher than him that a lot of people felt like, but he was the number 2 running back on the board. And having someone that went to the same high school I went to, I was pretty high on that. Pretty happy about that one.
No, that was cool, dude. I was watching some of his film on Twitter that someone posted. He can pass block amazing, which is huge for running backs. And I think that's a very hidden art that a lot of people don't know. But the quarterback, I promise you, his quarterback now knows that he can pass block. And that's a huge deal. I want to get back, before I want to give a shout out to Anson Belts, I want to get back to, you're talking about the Browns quarterback room. I don't hate them drafting 2 quarterbacks. Shador is a great value if you think he's worth anything before that. Dylan Gabriel's experience and has produced everywhere he's been, which I think is value in itself. And then look, them doing that, in my opinion, is saying, okay, both of you guys are going to get a shot to play this year, and we hope that one of them stick and one of them can be a long-term starter. And I don't hate that play. If you've had tough quarterback play in a year's period, year after year after year, you haven't had a consistent quarterback play, why not draft 2 young guys and just say, you know what, you both are probably going to get a shot this year or the next year. And hopefully if our scouts graded right, one of you 2 will be a long-term guy for us. I don't hate that play at all, actually.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. You have more insight. You played in 2 professional leagues, playing one obviously right now. How much is the 2 through 4 guy really going to get in action in practice?
In practice, none. You'll get 4 quarterbacks in the NFL. The 2 and 3 will split the scout team, the practice squad reps. The 4 won't get any. And yeah, in the NFL, you get, in professional football, 0. Only the starter gets team reps once the season starts. So I'm talking
about preseason. What's that going to look like?
Probably? Preseason. I don't know for them. Like Flacco probably will play a couple series. They already know what they have in him. They'll get a lot of reps in preseason. I mean, they should get a lot of reps in preseason.
But it's not going to be like a full quarterback battle, is it? Like,
I don't know. The Deshaun Watson, it doesn't seem like he's going to play this year. Flacco played for him a few years ago, played really well. I mean, I don't know. It just depends what they think of it. They'll get enough reps to where if they're good enough, like Flacco isn't their long-term guy, to where if they play good enough, like they'll have a chance to start. They'll have a chance to play this year 100%, whether that's early on or later in the year. Both of those guys will have a chance to play this year.
We'll have to see and find out. I'm excited for just seeing what pulls out of that one. And then obviously the Giants room as well.
No,
But
100%.
Did you follow ECU spring game at all? I didn't have a chance to, but I came back and read some articles.
Yeah, I did. Spring game's just tough to like because you're so vanilla nowadays. It's tough to say one way or the other. Before we get too deep into that, I want to give a shout out to Anson Belts. Over 10,000 combinations of micro-adjustable holeless belts. Their official belt of ECU Athletics, their official belt of the Holt Naylor Show. You will look at the coaches on game day. They are wearing Anson Belts. They got the Jolly Roger logo and the purple belt. You got to get your suit for game day, for classy attire. They got everything in between. They got exotics now, too. Check them out at ansonbelt.com. Caden, we love Anson Belts.
We love Anson. But going back to the quarterback situation in spring ball, we know who the starters are going to be. We talked about that. I think the biggest question mark is, do we have a backup? And if we don't have a backup, there might be an issue there. And, I heard, there's a lot of run the rock in that spring game. And the backup quarterback or quarterback play in general just didn't seem too solid.
Yeah, you just never know. Like I said, it wasn't filmed. Like I wasn't live, so I didn't get a chance to watch it. So I want to sit here and talk like I know exactly what happened. But I think Jeter's going to have a chance, even if they bring in. I know that's kind of the conversation. Who's going to be the 2? I think they'll bring in a transfer, but Jeter still has a chance to win the 2 job. Just knowing Harold, knowing the situation, playing football long enough. He's been there long enough. He has respect there. He knows the offense. He's going to have a chance. That's the quarterback battle to watch during camp. Is who is going to win the 2 job? Is it going to be a young guy? Is it going to be Jeter? Is it going to be a transfer if we bring one in? That's what's to watch, because I'm going to tell you right now, good teams or good/great teams, winning teams have a good backup quarterback. Katon Houser's the guy. We all know that. God forbid something happens to him, we got to have someone ready to go, and that is something to look at during camp. I'm super interested. Kaden, we're both quarterbacks. We love quarterback play. That's something we're going to be looking at going into camp as well.
Who is the prototype guy that you can go and recruit? Be like, hey, come to East Carolina, be a backup. Who are you looking for in that situation?
I think it's a guy, in my opinion, I actually do still follow the transfer portal a lot. It's going to be hard to find someone with Power 5. It's going to be almost impossible to find someone with Power 5 experience because you can't tell them it's a quarterback competition anymore. Katon Houser's the guy. So if a guy's trying to play somewhere, enter the portal because he wants to go play somewhere else, it's going to be tough. You got to go find a guy that went to, for example, actually. So my quarterback coach, Chris Reynolds, he's our boy, Caden. He coaches me and he trains quarterbacks now in the offseason. I trained with him. He just trained a guy who transferred. This is an example. I don't know if he's good enough at all. This is an example. He's transferring from Lamar, and he was training for the draft, but then the JUCO thing gave him an extra year. He's in the portal right now. He started for Lamar for 3 years, put up good stats. It's going to be someone like that you bring in, and you say, look, you're going to be a 2. You're going to play at a bigger school. You're going to experience cool things. Also, if something goes down, you're in an offense that you can put up numbers if you really believe in yourself. That's the type of guy that you're going to probably have to get in the transfer portal. Or the other option, if you want an older guy. If you want someone who has multiple years left, then you say you got to go get someone who hasn't played yet, a quarterback that hasn't played, that has 4 years left. Maybe they redshirted. They entered the portal from Georgia or some other school and say, you know what, I want to be the guy somewhere, but I don't mind sitting and redshirting a year or 2 or sitting back and learning the offense. That's the other option, because then you can say, okay, we'll sit behind Katon for a year or 2. Then you're the guy next up if you win the 2 job. So there's 2 different ways you can go about it. Also, if they trust Jeter enough, we might not even go get a 3rd guy. So it all just depends.
Yeah, that's the biggest question there. And I like the Lamar type right there. That's probably your best guy. It's like, hey, I played in college 5 or 6 years. They want to experience something different than maybe a smaller school, fill the atmosphere out. I think that's the best route you probably could go. I don't see a younger guy really coming to ECU to sit around and, I have a lot of other younger guys I got to compete with afterwards. So I like the older guy option. Hopefully, there might be a chance, but we might not even need it. We'll see what the coaches think.
Yeah, we'll see for sure. All right, last thing before we get off, we have some exciting news. So I know it's been hard with the 2 weeks, only 2 episodes a month. Football season's our jam, though. We're going to be pumping out content like crazy during football season. And the special announcement is, Cade, we talked about it before air. Last year, inside the film room with me, Holton Ahlers had to get taken down because ECU didn't allow us to do it. So we were sitting down and we were like, you know what? That was too much of a hit. We have too much football knowledge to not still have a film breakdown. So what we're going to do to kick off football season starting in July, the second week of July after July 4th, we are going to film breakdown every single team that ECU plays on their schedule like we are preparing for a game. We're going to do their weaknesses, their strengths, their top players coming back, their schematics, their scheme, their coaches, their coaching tree. We're going to do all of that. I'm going to do it, and Caden's going to do it with me like we are preparing, like if I was a starting quarterback and Caden was a starting quarterback, or like in the 3 years me and Caden were together where we would go in, we would watch film on a team, and me and Caden would bounce ideas off to each other heading into the next year. So we're going to do that, and we're going to be posting that the 10 weeks leading up to college football season to give you guys to kind of kick off the football season, really. But really, it gets people excited because we're going to start it the second week of July. The film breakdown will begin of the teams. We'll start with NC State because that's the first game, and we'll just break it down week by week leading up to the season. So the football content, Caden, will start early this year. We want to give the fans all the content we possibly can, and that's one that we're both really excited about.
Exactly. We're excited about that. Pumped up about breaking down some film again. I know that was a big hit during the season. Stinks that politics got in the way. But
politics.
Hopefully any politics come up. We're not scared for a battle. But also what I would like to see, and maybe we can get this one on the books, is maybe we call another former ECU coach before the big game in August to get back on the podcast. I think a lot of people would like to see that. And maybe we should go to Raleigh and visit him.
Maybe so. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what the people think. But yeah, got a lot of fun things planned for football season, and really starting in July when I get back. I get back in June from the UFL, but I get married, got the honeymoon. July, we're going to kick this thing off running. Football content's going to begin. Caden, best bets was huge. We got a lot of stuff. We're going to be pumping out content daily once July starts. We can't wait for that. Caden, you got anything before we let you go?
I know we were pumping content last year. Maybe we'll do the skits again. We'll see how.
Oh, we're doing. Maybe we're doing
that again. We'll see.
All right. Thanks for joining, guys. We'll see you next week.